Lives of two young Bronx adults were tragically cut down during an accident on the Cross Bronx Expressway. This prompted two fathers to create the Cross Bronx Initiative, a program they hope will make the road safer, faster, but most of all, cleaner. They fear that because many parts of the Cross Bronx are narrow and lack shoulders, the number of accidents will unfortunately increase. Now, the two men behind the project of trying to make the Cross Bronx safer join us now on set, Sepulveda and William Rivera. We welcome you both to the show, and good to have you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Everybody worries about the Cross Bronx.
Sure.
I mean, and obviously this really became an issue that brought to light after the tragic accident that occurred. And talk to us about after that. Obviously, you guys were pretty fed up and said, we got to do something about this.
Well, it's funny, this is a project actually that we've been working on before this tragedy, but this tragedy has prompted awareness on the initiative, unfortunately. But unfortunately, the tragedy was horrible and probably could have been preventative. Engineering-wise, it was a little better to Cross Bronx resting with the shoulders, but a lot of accidents do occur. We have 180,000 cars that pass through the Cross Bronx every day.
180,000 every day.
When in 1972, when the Cross Bronx was completed, you had 60,000 vehicles that would cross the Cross Bronx. That number today is 180,000. And it's created what we call the silent killer for this community. Mr. Rivera, who deserves most of the credit for founding the movement, did a lot of research a little bit before that accident occurred. This has prompted more interest and awareness, but the reality is that the amount of traffic that the Cross Bronx brings to our neighborhoods has a devastating impact on the health, safety, and the commercial viability of the areas. He can tell you some of the statistics in terms of the intersections, the worst intersections that we have in the entire country. I think he's very well suited.
Just people want to know, if they don't know already, the Cross Bronx is the most congested highway in the United States of America, right here in the backyard of the Bronx.
It's the most congested highway.
The most congested. The average 115 hours of congestion a week at the Bronx River Avenue and the Cross Bronx Expressway intersection.
So you're trying to tell me we're beating LA?
We're beating LA, and we're beating a lot of places. And the top four of the top 10 are in the Bronx and 11 span of the Cross Bronx Expressway, something that the Bronx shouldn't be proud about at all.
Wow.
You're saying 4 of the top 10 worst intersections in the entire country are within a span of about 2 miles. 3 of them are in one community board, Community Board 9, which is primarily in the 76th Assembly District. He is a member of Community Board 9. And 3 of those are within this community board. And what it's doing to our children is devastating. You're talking about the rate of asthma has been linked to this kind of pollution that's created by the amount of vehicle traffic. You're talking about other carcinogens that are pumped into the environment, all within this area. And no one's doing anything about it. And we have to stop that. We both have young children, and I have a 19-year-old, and I also have a 6-week-old baby. And I plan on living and raising my child here. And I am not just going to sit by idly and allow this kind of devastation, this silent devastation, on the children of this community.
Well, let's talk about what's being done, because obviously when you hear the statistics like this, that's alarming. You know, that's crazy. But what do we do now that we've got this situation before us?
Very good question. I started this initiative called the Cross Bronx Expressway Initiative. We just bought the domain for the website. It's crossbronxinitiative.org. We do have a Facebook, Cross Bronx Initiative. It's jumped off the ground very quickly. It's a premature initiative, but I think it's been very successful. We brought together, it's pretty much a comprehensive study analysis on the Cross Bronx Expressway, and to find a ready-to-go project solutions in the Cross Bronx, bringing together experts. Columbia University is on board, the civil engineering department, so we're going to have colleges, institutes, public and private government agencies, community boards, communities, churches. I want this to be talked about in everybody's kitchen and living room, and get the awareness out, and then actually sit down with the best people, the experts, and come up with solutions on how we could fix the Cross Bronx Expressway. I don't think we should wait until it's 300,000 cars a day.
Right.
And we can tell you what, some of the solutions that other states have dealt with. There were some states that were also had, were within that top 10 of the worst intersections. For example, Massachusetts had the Mass Dig project, where they built a tunnel underneath that main highway that created a lot of pollution, and it's now below the top 10. I think it's now less than the top 30.
Well, that is in California.
Right.
But Lewis is right. There's, to interject, there's places or other places in the country that are not in the top 10, or where and they have fixed their problem. A lot of it, they expand their highways. So this is talking about the Big Dig, which is in Boston, Massachusetts.
Okay.
Huge project, millions of dollars. They put their major arteries underneath the city. You have recently in Seattle, as the Alaskan Way Viaduct, they're removing this interstate and putting a tunnel. So the Bronx is #1, and there's other places in the country that are fixing their problems.
I'm going back to what you said earlier, because you said #1, you said 115 hours of congestion time a week is usually what you see on the Bronx, on the Cross Bronx Expressway. 115 hours a week.
Right.
I'm doing the math because there's only 168 hours in a week.
Well, and think about what's producing. I mean, what kind of vehicles do you have there when you have 115 hours? You're talking primarily commercial traffic that uses diesel fuel. And as we did, there was a story in the New York Times about the impact that diesel fuel, the congestion has on asthma, on emissions.
And the bank, what you said is exactly what I was thinking when I saw it on the computer, that commercial traffic, a tractor trailer uses 1 gallon of diesel fuel while it's idling per hour.
Right.
And if you do the numbers, it's a tremendous amount of emissions. Diesel fuel is a carcinogen, causes cancer. There's links to health hazards. It's across the board. And it's not just our health. It's our quality of life. It's our economy. Last year we lost $101 billion to traffic congestion. It's across the board. There's playgrounds next to the Cross Bronx Expressway. This is definitely the Bronx biggest enemy and silent killer from now and in the future.
So now that we know this, and now that it becomes highlighted, and now we can even see how the ramifications of the results and how it affects, what's being done in terms of with elected officials, community? What's the buy-in been like? Has it been a good buy-in, or are we still going through red tape, or where are we at?
That was your next question, I think.
Well, we you know, it's interesting that we do that. We have gone out there. I mean, nothing was being done. No one was talking about it. But we have gone out there in this community, especially in the area that's mostly impacted. We have done presentations at community boards, at churches. We have met with elected officials. We have met with community-based organizations, and everybody's really enthusiastic about helping us with the project. You know, it's how could you be against it? I mean, when people realize, like for example, yesterday we were at a Little League meeting where there were about 400 parents at the Castle Hill Little League, and we spoke to them about the problem, and everyone was enthusiastic about assisting us. And so, you know, it's several layers of things that we have to do. One is that we have to get the community involved, make them aware of the type of impact that the Cross Bronx has on their children, and so they could start pushing and pulling and tugging at the political, the elected officials and the political base, so that then, you know, once the politicians start hearing about this and people start complaining in the community, they get involved. But Mr. Rivera has met with a lot of elected officials who have pledged to give us some monies to help us fund the project. We have to do a study. We're using universities. And so once you get that going, we're pretty confident we're going to have sort of like an avalanche effect, so that the right agencies, the state government, I mean, most of this has to be funded by the federal government, clearly. They have the pockets, and some state intervention. But if you don't make noise, this problem is going to continue.
All right, well, Luis Sepulveda and William Rivera, thank you so much. Where do people find out more information about the study if they want to become a partner in your endeavor?
Right now, they could just go on the Facebook as a Cross Bronx Initiative, and our website is expressway.org, which we're working on the website now. We're making 10,000 flyers. And tonight, at a public safety meeting in Parkchester at 6:30, we'll be talking about the Cross Bronx.
And we want you to come out tonight at, as we said, Parkchester, and let's give them the address one more time.
It's at St. Paul's Church.
It's 1891 McGraw Avenue at St. Paul's Church. And Darren, quickly, we also have the inaugural T-shirt here. Everywhere we go that allows us to promote the Cross Bronx Initiative. We're providing you with a T-shirt. Here you go. It's for you, and I hope you wear it with good health.
Thank you so much.
Right.
I appreciate it.
Sure.
Good to see you guys again. And Luis Sepulveda, William Rivera, thank you. And keep up the good work. Very, very alarming statistics, and hopefully we can get something done there.
Absolutely.